I wanted to start off 2023 with a quick goal setting video. I just love this time of year and I am a complete nerd when it comes to all things goals and planning. And I know you don't have to tell me this video is a little bit late, but I know I'm not the only one who procrastinated on their 2023 planning, so let's get into it. So before we get started, I wanted to just give you guys like an overview of my goal setting system because I know everyone does it a little bit differently. So I mostly use August Bradley's Pillar Pipelines and Vaults system. I've been using it for the last year since the end of 2021. It works really well for me, but the one change I did make going into 2023 is I downloaded Anna Lenkovsa's her Notion layout that she uses for goal planning. Although the base structure of my system is still the same, I really like the aesthetics of the way that she set her system up. So I ended up downloading it and rebuilding it with the databases I already had from the PPV system. So everything on the surface looks like her layout, but the structure beneath is still the original PPV databases, if that makes sense. Although I do want to point out, I actually did buy her template just because I wanted to support her work and didn't want to feel like I was trying to steal her ideas for free. Support creators, kids. So the highest level of my goal planning is value goals, which also are known as like objectives or dreams or just maybe like intentions. And this is really your intangible way that you define your dream life from a 30,000 foot view. And these aren't really goals that you can accomplish or check off. They're just more values that you're constantly pursuing in order to create the life that makes you happy and fulfilled. Now, underneath my value goals or objectives is my key results. If you're familiar with SMART goals, you probably already know what this is, but it's just any goal that is actually trackable, usually with a number. So it's actually not really a goal necessarily. It's more of just a target for which you can use to track your progress and make sure that your projects and habits and routines are moving forward in the direction that you want them to. Finally, we have projects, also known as project goals, and these are just big steps that you can take in order to reach your final destination or your final goals. And I model my projects off of the Getting Things Done system, so it's really just a collection of tasks that are all underneath the same umbrella. And this is something that can eventually be checked off or completed, unlike a value goal, but it's not necessarily related to a number. And then finally, I have habits, which most of you are probably familiar with. This is just daily actions that help you get closer to your goal. And all of my objectives have some combination of either a project, a key result, or a habit. And the only combination that they can't have is to only have a key result, because if you only have a number that you're trying to reach for, but you don't have a series of habits or like systems in place to reach that, then that goal is probably not going to work out for you. And now to actually get into my goals for 2023. I honestly feel like a little bit nervous or shy whenever I share these with people. I think partially because goals are so personal and that can be hard sharing even with like your friends and family, let alone strangers on the internet. But I'm nosy. I like to know what people are up to. So hopefully some of you find this interesting as well. So starting with my objectives, again, these are just my high level umbrella destinations that I'm working on a long-term basis, like 2, 5, 10 years. And I've also gone ahead and prioritized these. I think prioritizing is extremely important because even if there are certain aspects of your life that you always want to be moving forward with, some things are gonna have to suck, right? Like you're gonna have to be mediocre in some area. That's just how seasons of life work. And for me, what I'm prioritizing this year is mostly related to my career and my financial freedom. So achieving freedom through wealth and financial stability and building a career that fosters creativity. If I accomplished nothing else this year, but I made huge progress in these two areas, I think I would end the year being extremely satisfied. And then my second priority is to foster an ongoing sense of peace and acceptance. I know it sounds like a little bit woo-woo, but I feel like I made a lot of progress in the last few years up until my 30th birthday, making sure that I entered this new decade with a really strong sense of self. I did a lot of reflecting, a lot of reading, a lot of therapy. Although I think I've made a lot of progress, I want to keep making progress. And overall just, feel very zen about life and not get so worked up over the little things, which is much easier said than done. And going into my third priorities, I want to create a healthy lifestyle that's effortlessly maintained and establish a sense of community within Muay Thai. A lot of those goals are related to combat culture specifically. I also want to create deep and committed personal relationships relationships, and nurture my inner child and pursue joy. These were two areas that were actually really highly prioritized in 2021 and 22. So now that those areas in my life are a little more habitual and running a little bit more smoothly, I feel like it's okay for me to put them on a lower priority this year. And then my final priority is to better understand the world around me through continuous learning. Learning is always so important, but I think 2023 is going to be a lot more about learning through action and failure and actually doing the thing versus getting my nose deep in books and courses and everything, although of course I will still be reading and learning whenever I do have the time, but that's just going to be kind of like at the end of the spectrum for me. And then we have maintain smooth running systems in life and home. This is always just ongoing. And now before I get into the nitty-gritty and tell you how I plan on achieving all these things, I just want to put a quick caveat out there that I know I am a little bit intense, a little bit psychotic when it comes to goal planning. I know that, don't worry. This is definitely doing the most, and I don't want anyone to think that they need to be putting out like 50 or 100 goals to make their year productive. There's plenty other systems that work better for other people. I just personally prefer to have everything organized. I like to challenge myself. I don't expect to achieve all these things, but I think setting the bar high for myself, it's, you know, like that saying, shoot for the moon, land for the stars, right? So now if we go into my key results, you can see that these are categorized by the overall objective. And I only have 5 here because not all of my objectives have key results. So under my financial goals, I have a certain income that I want to bring in outside of my regular job. I would like to create 3 new digital income streams online, and I want to increase my liquid savings to a certain amount because I was not working for the most of 2022, and you know how that story goes. And then under learning, my only key metric here is just the amount of books I want to read. I want to do 2 a month. I think that's a pretty reasonable goal. As far as career goals go, I would like to grow my personal YouTube to 100K. Again, reaching for the stars, but I've seen it happen before, so you know, I'm not going to limit myself. And I would also like to see my TikTok grow to 50K and my Instagram grow to 10K. I think those are all pretty hefty numbers to reach for, but not impossible. At some point later in the year, I'm also going to be working on making my website a little more of like a digital home base, maybe add in some articles, get back into blogging, potentially do a newsletter. I don't know, TBD. Once I do start kind of getting that ball rolling, I'm hoping to eventually drive at least 10,000 monthly views to my personal site. I also want to do a little more freelancing this year, so getting at least 3 projects to add to my portfolio. As far as my creative skills go, I have the goal of completing 4 sketchbooks, so 1 sketchbook a quarter, and I also want to finish 12 art pieces, so 1 full piece a month. And I put these under my career goals just because I feel like I want to incorporate more of my creative background into what I do in the future in terms of making videos, one day maybe opening a store. I think that would be really fun. And I really need to get back into the habit of like drawing and sketching and creating things on a regular basis in order to do that. So I think this is kind of building the foundation for what I want to do in the future. And then under my physical health, my only goal here is to get back down to 125 pounds. That is about like 8 or 10 pounds less than what I weigh now. So not a huge difference, but I've always been very comfortable in that range, and I try not to attach too much validation to the number on the scale, but I do think it is a good benchmark for knowing that I am treating myself well and that I feel comfortable in my own skin. And under my Muay Thai and community goals, I would also like to grow Combat Culture to 100K. I would like to grow our TikTok to 30K, our Instagram. I think these numbers are a little more realistic because we have a bigger audience for Combat Culture than my personal channel. I also would like to launch 5 new products. And then finally, under just like general joy and play, I would really like to develop 10 rolls of film. So that's about a roll a month, but can take a month or 2 off if life gets in the way, just to make sure I'm still focusing on like my photography skills and using the new film cameras that I got. I think that could be a very fun side project. And then going into my project goals, I have a lot of these. So under my financial goals, I would like to find a new job. Yeah, that's a good one. So just for some context, back in April of 2022, I was laid off from my job and I was not in a very good headspace at the time. My mental health was not doing well. A lot of stuff going on that made it very difficult for me to focus on finding a new position. And luckily I was financially stable enough to take some extended time off, so I did that as a very personal decision. But obviously that can't be forever, so that's why I am making a goal to return to work ASAP. I also want to get into launching some digital products on my website, maybe some Notion templates that y'all have been asking for. And I also want to set up maybe like a buy me a coffee or some like little donations in case anyone's interested in just supporting, get more into affiliate marketing, and also land my first sponsorship. And at some point later in the year, I would also love to create a course. And then moving on back down into career, I want to get better at thumbnails and titles. And like I said earlier, I would really like to set up an online store at some point. I think that is definitely like a moonshot goal because I want to create like physical products, which is a lot more difficult than just selling things online. I also want to create a newsletter, probably later on in the year. And I would like to try out a coaching program or a mastermind. I think this is something I've always been interested in, but because I'm not someone who's comfortable in asking for help, I have kind of put it off or procrastinated on it. And I think this is the year that I just bite the bullet. So you can see some of these are kind of just steps to achieve my larger goal. They're not all like goals in themselves. Like signing up for freelance sites, that's not like particularly exciting, but it's something I have to do in order to reach other goals that I've set for myself. Creating digital freebies, starting a blog again, even just on like an infrequent basis. I want to learn Webflow, create a better brand identity for my channel. I know this is getting like really in the weeds. Is this interesting? I don't know. Okay, let's just move on. So as far as my sense of peace and acceptance, I would like to restart therapy again, and I would also like to take a solo trip. That's something I've been telling myself I was gonna do for the last few years. So for physical health, compete in a smoker. So that's kind of like a beginner fight in Muay Thai, and I haven't competed yet. I think that'd be cool. I also want to get my vision corrected. I've been terrified of like getting LASIK done or PRK because I hear all these horror stories and I let it get to me. But these are very safe procedures, and I think it would be great to not have to use contacts ever again. So I actually have an appointment for February to get a procedure done. And for my combat culture goals, I want to finally trademark our name, set up a better tax system so we're not scrambling at the end of the year. Also want to land our first sponsorship. For personal relationships, only goal here is to visit Korea because I have a friend that's living out there and a couple of our other friends want to go visit. So under Nurture My Inner Child, a lot of these are just me trying out different like art projects to see if anything really clicks. And I want to create pottery, try like a knitting or crochet project, start upcycling clothing, maybe do my own rug tufting class. Also gonna go through my wardrobe and kind of like rearrange things, donate stuff, sell stuff. And as far as learning goes, I'm just gonna refine my SmartNotes system, and I would also like to refine my Mandarin. And finally, maintaining smooth learning systems in life and home. I need to go back to China to wrap up some family members. The country's been closed for like the last few years and they just opened, so we're probably gonna try and do that maybe this summer. Also want to get better about proper clothing care and laundry because I'm 30 now and I still don't know how to do laundry other than just throwing everything into the washer and crossing my fingers, nothing gets destroyed. So we're gonna work on that. Also want to move back to New York. That's gonna be something that happens after I hopefully get a job. I also want to complete my A Closet wardrobe. If you don't know what A Closet is, it's this app that lets you digitize your entire wardrobe and make outfits. And it's so fun and so useful, but I just need to go through and actually finish adding everything to it. Plan for 2023, that's under here because I'm late and I'm still doing that. Update my Lightroom library, make sure everything's organized there. Relaunch my Depop so I have a way to sell clothes, and also just do like a general digital declutter on my phone, laptop. You get the point. Now let's go into habits. So I have a lot here, and every year I kind of make the mistake of building out this crazy routine for myself and expecting that I'm gonna finish it top to bottom every single day, and then I don't. And I feel like the wrong things get prioritized and I end up dropping things that I should be focusing on. So this year instead, I really liked the system that Anna put in her original Notion template, which is to kind of list out all of the habits that you want to focus on through the year, but only have 2 or 3 as a priority in progress at any given time. This is also a concept, if you ever read Atomic Habits, you'll probably be familiar with this. So if you look here, I do have, you know, like drinking water, journaling, affirmations, yoga, all these things that I'm never gonna do this week. So right now I'm only focusing on getting to bed by midnight because my sleep schedule has been absolutely whack since the holidays, and I want to read a entry from the Daily Stoic every day. It's this book by Ryan Holiday, which I have right here for easy access, and every day is like a little entry that reviews some piece of Stoic philosophy, and I think this would be a great way to wake up and just kind of, I don't know, like think about life and have a little piece of knowledge to munch on throughout the day. And then I also want to get back into lifting because I have been so inconsistent with working out, which was partially my fault for having excuses and also partially because of travel and tearing my calf and sickness and holidays and all that good stuff. So we're gonna get back into it. And that is all of my insane goal planning for 2023. If you enjoyed this video and you're still working on your own goal setting, I would suggest that you watch this video next.